course it's fake. We're not real. I'm not really a ladies' man. Mr. T's not really tough. I'm sorry, T. I just saw him when was it? Month? No, a little. I guess it was in March, April, May, June. Last week. It was last week. Yeah.
You might know him from a little thing called the A-Team. Something called Battlestar Galactica. And the one good episode of Galactica 1980. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, Dirk Benedict. Oh. You okay?
What's that music? That's the wrong music.
That.
My God, that sounded like Eric Estrada music. It was way too sentimental. Oh, my voice is coming back. It's funny, I see all you people. I lost my voice, and I spent all night looking for it. But I know, sad, not very funny. No, I talked all day yesterday. Some of you were here. I never shut up. I just went, and then I went out last night. So my voice is a little weak, which I don't like because your voice reflects your virility. So I sound like I'm old. I am old. How old am I? I know, isn't that awful that we all know everybody's age? What's my IQ? 80.
Wow.
But you know, in Montana, we have a speeding limit. I'm born and raised in Montana, and I live there now, and most of my life I've lived there. When I made a little bit of money, the first time I was a New York actor. God, let me start at the beginning. I was born March 1st, 1945, in a little log cabin in, no, that was Abraham Lincoln, who I knew. No, I bought my own place, a little cabin in Montana in 1974. I had just finished starring on Broadway with the great, legendary, iconic Gloria Swanson. So, yeah. I've had a really, for the few things that I did, it's amazing how many really iconic people I became friends with. It seems like every time I worked with an older performer, they befriended me because, you know, in show business, I think in life generally, nobody socializes down. They told me that when I showed up in LA. Nobody ever invites somebody beneath them to their party. They're always trying to go to a party of somebody that's higher up the ladder, you know, in the pecking order. So I never went to many parties. But I did. Gloria Swanson, and she played my mother in a wonderful play called Butterflies Are Free, which ran 4 years, and I did the last 9 months because they were tired of the play, and I have a reputation that anytime I'm in something, it closes. It gets canceled. I've starred in 17 movies. Some of them were big movies, wonderful movies, and none of them got released. Well, the Snake movie did, but then I did a movie where, but they found out everybody's terrified of snakes. You know, so it didn't really do that well, so that was the end of that. But I stayed friends with Richard Zanuck. Dick Zanuck, who went on after that, he did Jaws and all this legendary stuff with his partner, David Brown, and then his wife, I forget his partner. So, but I became friends with, and she became like a second mother to me, you know, in real life. Swanson did. So when I was in New York, when I my whole life has been tangents, you know, I never have planned anything. So there's no through straight line. I never wanted to be an actor. Never dreamed, it wasn't like I didn't not dream of acting. It never entered my brain. It would have been like, do you want to bank rob? I never thought of that, never bank robbing. Acting, we didn't own a TV. So, and then when we didn't have a movie house, then they got a movie house, 900 people. In the summer, I was working on ranches. So I was out in a bunkhouse, would come in on Friday night, and then Saturday I was doing other stuff. I was playing. And then and during the school year, I was playing football, then I was playing basketball, then I was doing track. So after school, we had practice, and then we had games, and we had dances, and I never watched television. Never went to the movies, so I never, that whole world. I was a musician. I played the piano, and I played the trombone, had a Dixieland band in high school, and that was the only kind of thing I thought I might do. I thought I would be a ranch hand, which is funny because when I did finally stumble into Hollywood, I could never even get an audition for a Western. People said, you should be in Yellowstone. I live 100 miles from where they filmed the damn thing. They said, no, he doesn't look like a cowboy. I don't know, Costner looks like a cowboy. Not to me, he looks like a city boy pretending to be a cowboy, but that's all right. No, they all did that. All of a sudden, everybody puts on cowboy boots and wears a hat, and they're manly. I used all of them, going back to Redford. He's from Pasadena, I think, and who's that other guy with the voice and the mustache? He married Catherine Ross. Huh? Sam Elliott. He's a city slicker. I mean, and I was actually a guy who grew up on horses. No, he doesn't look like it. No, he doesn't look like it. Let's face it, I was too pretty. No, Paul Newman. I knew Paul Newman. I met Paul Newman. It's so weird how that happened. And I was at his house that he was not living in. In fact, he wasn't even there. I snuck in. There was this window down in the basement where you could sneak in and go in. I used to go in and play pool on these pool tables. And no, that's all bullshit. But I met Paul Newman through the Snake movie because I was doing the Snake movie in 1972. It was 72. It was October, November of 72. And the wonderful, iconic Strother Martin. I've said iconic 4 times. I got to stop saying iconic. I'm iconic. No, I'm not. I'm ironic. Oh, stop it. Legendary, maybe. No, I didn't have a big enough career to be legendary. Every movie I was in never got released except the Snake movie. I did a movie called the best movie I was in was called Body Slam. Yeah, for Orion Pictures. They did 3 movies that year. 1986, they did Platoon. You heard of that? Academy Award-winning movie. They did Hoosiers with the great Gene Hackman. Academy Award-winning movie. And they did the movie I starred in called Body Slam, which was a summer movie for kids. And never got released. There was a lawsuit. Hal Needham directed it from he did all the Burt Reynolds stuff. And we had so much fun, laughed our ass off. It was just great, wild and crazy. And I was I was still doing the A-Team, but it was during my break. So if you've seen the movie, it's just set in the wrestling world. And then Hal and I, when we first started working, I went to Hal and I said, Hal, because my real talent is writing, which bothers me now because I haven't written very much, but and it's a wasted gift. So I feel I'm sorry, God, because you shouldn't waste things that you're given. There's still time, but then I go, why? Why bother? What's the point? At 80, I sometimes don't go to the bathroom. I go, what's the point? I'm just gonna. No, I get up when I don't get dressed. I say, so I walk around my house with just, t-shirt and underwear. And in the summer, I go, nobody visits. I'm all alone. I go, why am I getting dressed? I'm just going to get undressed and go back to bed. Not right away, but yeah. So
So would you say people should call before they come and visit you?
Yes, call.
Please put on
and bring cigars. Oh, God. I started drinking whiskey.
Good choice.
Scotch whiskey, really good Scotch, which I didn't drink for years and years and years. I don't know where that came from, because that's what I do now in my underwear. This is getting sad. I said, God, I hope nobody takes a picture of me sitting there with a cigar in my underwear drinking, 18-year-old Macallans. I spend all my money on booze. I used to spend it on women. So I don't know. Well, on romance, and I liked women, so. They never liked me. You ever wonder about why people thought I was really good with the ladies and all that just because I played these characters? But why did I end up alone? Ask yourself that. There must be something wrong. Oh, God, this is so hard. I can't believe it. No. I know I forgot. I was going to talk about Paul Newman. Yeah, I got a tremor. Thank God it's not a tumor. That'll be next. I had my choice. Dirk, do you want a tremor or a tumor? I'll take the tremor. No, my mother had it, my grandmother had it, my sister had it, my brother has it. So it's kind of a genetic thing. Where am I right now? I'm lost. No, I'm kidding. I shouldn't do that because I used to make jokes about shaky hands. If somebody would offer me a drink, I go, oh, okay. And now I have shaky hands. So, but Paul Newman. So I'm doing the movie with Struther, thank you. And he jump in anytime. What I should do is stop talking and do a Q&A. Because, and then I can talk about what you want to hear.
Joe's going to come around with the microphone.
Because I only have 5 minutes left.
He was,
No.
He was relaxing there, but we're going to make him work.
No. Oh, yeah.
1, 2.
So we have a couple people here, 4 people, 5 people. Wow.
Real pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for my childhood. You've played some, I won't say cocky, but very self-confident characters. And you've worked with other really great actors, Lauren Green, George Peppard. Who made you starstruck?
Nobody. It's true, because I was never a fan. I said, when I grew up, my heroes were local people. There was a guy, Jack Short, could ride a saddle bronc like, this is funny. I'm getting emotional over this memory of these wonderful people that I admired growing up. There was the best deer hunter. There was the best guy, roper. The rest, bulldogger. It's all rodeo stuff. But there was the person that was the fastest. There was the best musician on the piano player. My dad was the smartest guy I ever knew, but he was the smartest guy in town. So it was all my heroes were local. So, and then it's funny, I got to play the Paul Newman thing. So so Struther Martin, I'm at Universal Studios going to lunch with Struther, who I could tell Struther Martin stories for an hour. From Butch and Sundance and all that. Well, we got here's a failure to communicate. That's a Paul Newman movie. What is it? Anyway, he was friends. So we ran into George Roy Hill, the director. He said, Struther. And he said, Dirk, I had auditioned for him in New York about 3 years earlier. And then we blah, blah, blah. And then he said, we're doing a movie. We're going to win an Academy Award, George. Dirk is starring it. He's going to be a big star, bigger than Raptor. And George says, well, I'm having a party at my house on Sunday. Why don't you come up? And he says, Dirk, you come. Why come up to my house? So I went out. So it turns out it was up in Bowlby Hills. It was Paul Newman's house, where Paul Newman didn't live. But George was leasing it while they were doing a movie called The Sting. So they were just starting. So I go to this, and I'll make this short. So I'm up there, and there's all these famous people, including Redford and Robert Shaw, and everybody. Oh, Joanne Woodward. Oh my God. And Redford's wife was this wonderful, wonderful woman. And Valerie Perrine and so Paul Newman had a pool room, as he would, being so everybody. So then Paul goes into the pool room, and everybody's in there, all the guys and most of the women. So there's 15, 20 people in this room, and everybody wants to play pool with Paul Newman. I was very quiet in those days. I didn't talk, especially in that crowd. So I'm in the pool room. I'm just back against the wall like this, behind people watching, because it's fantastic. I was watching, and I'm watching everybody kind of, So Paul Newman goes, Dirk, you come and... Oh, God, I don't play pool. And there's all these people there, Bo Svensson, the actor, and they all wanted, and they're looking, who's Dirk? They didn't know I was not famous. I was started on Broadway and all, but in Hollywood, I was less than zero. So they're going, why him? Why him? So I said, oh, and I had a conversation with him. He had come up to me at the party. Weird, and we talked. And I said, Mr. Newman, he said, no, Paul. So I said, oh, Paul, I play pool. He said, oh, sure you do. Everybody plays pool. I go, no, and everybody's going, yeah, don't play this. So so I'm thinking, well, hell, I got to do it. So I was so nervous. My hands didn't shake in those days. I was like a rock. So we're going to play pool. So I'm playing pool. I'm going to play pool with Paul Newman. I played pool twice in my life, in my teens. So I'd only seen movies like The Hustler, so I know how people did this, but it was like sex, the same thing. That's how I learned sex, But, well, didn't everybody? Yeah, I didn't know what to do. I go, so, never mind. No, so he broke, nothing went in, so I got to shoot. So it's a pretty easy shot. I go in, goes in. So now I got another shot, and it's a little more tough. It's further, it's straight, but there's more carpet, turf, green, what do you call it, felt. So I shoot it, it goes in. Now I'm looking, and the only thing I got to bounce it off, hit the ball, and just touch it, and it goes, and I thought, what the hell I did? It went in. I know. So now the room was quiet. And Paul Newman says, he's standing with his cue stick. He says, are you hustling me, kid? And I wish I was a real pool player and I could have hustled him and it would have been fun. But I never made another shot. At the end, he says, you don't play pool, do you? I said, no. But we became friends. We got along great. So let's have a question, or otherwise I'll...
Hi, thanks. This is a pleasure meeting you. Battlestar Galactica question. I don't know if you remember this. It's been bothering me for like 40 years. Do you remember the episode of War of the Gods?
You want to know how I got the part? No.
Remember the episode? I think so, yeah. Maybe my mouth's not close enough. War of the Gods with Patrick McGee in it?
Yeah.
What did you and Apollo see in the ship? Remember his ship crashed on the planet?
Oh, that was where McGee was.
Right.
What was he? He was called
Count Ibley, right?
Iblis.
Yeah,
Iblis,
Count Ibley. Oh God, we laughed so hard. I wish Sheba was here, Ann Lockhart, because we never knew. We didn't know. They never said. We didn't know what was in there. It wasn't revealed to the actors, because actors don't know shit anyway. We just really, actors as a rule are not. Look at what they do. Actors don't write it. They don't produce it. They don't. All they got to do is memorize and go out there and be charming. So if somebody's got a little charm, a little charisma, or everybody's got acting talent. We act every day of our life. You pretend you're a parent. Your kids, you pretend like you're a grown-up. You don't know what the hell you're doing, but you got to fake it. You got to go, okay, you're going to bed with this. No, with this. Yeah, so it's all a performance. Life is a performance. That's why, if is it called proof? What do they call it? The power of positive thinking. It's people make a lot of money teaching this, but it's just believing in something, committing to something, and believing it. If you believe you are, you are. So acting is really simple. I act all the time with little kids because I raised my sons. I went back to Montana permanently in '94, and my wife had left, and I had these two little boys. They were 4 and 6. So for the next 20 years, that's what I've been doing. They're now in their 30s, and we're really, 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 really close. And but I used to play with all their friends, so I would be a recess monitor, and they loved it, because I would get and play all the games. And kids, imagination, it hasn't been destroyed yet. They'll just go with you. You'll just pretend you're a dinosaur, and they go, oh yeah, and then they'll run, and they join right in. It's just, we're born with it, and that's all acting is, childlike. Most actors stop evolving at age 12 or 14. They're very young and and it's not a bad thing, but it's not an intellectual a profession that demands, it's not like being an architect or have I trashed my own profession enough to, have I destroyed it? And now it's all a fake. No, of course it's fake. We're not real. I'm not really a ladies' man. Mr. T's not really tough. I'm sorry to you. I just saw him when was it? I guess it was in March, April, May, June. Last week. It was last week. No, we had so many, we laughed so hard. It was just like when we did the show. When we did the A-Team, it was chaos, off camera. We would sit in our chairs and just jibber-jabber. Mr. T would sit in his canvas chair. It said Mr. T, and no, it said B.A. Baracus, and mine said Faceman. But he would just sit there all day, pretty much, unless it was cold out, and talk. It was the damnedest thing. At first, the crew, because he was a big deal, big thing, still is. And so they go, oh, Mr. T's out. So the crew's working, but whenever they had a time, they would just gather around and listen. And then after about a year, they just ignored. It was just, they knew he was going to be there. It was just like what do you call it? When a what? Yeah, I was holding court, but nobody would stop paying attention because he was always there. They'd be walking by and they would just go like that because they knew he would be there later and he'd be there in the morning and he'd still be talking. And he loved to talk about bowel movements. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I got up this morning. I couldn't take it. And I said, oh, yeah, I can't go to work. I got to go see Face and Murdoch. And then I got to my trailer. I was in there. The guys, I was in there. Did you hear me in there? I was in there. I couldn't go. So then I got to. Nobody wants to hear that. First you go, The other thing about it, so he didn't have a lot of dialogue, and as the show went on, he had less and less because he wouldn't bother to learn it. I remember one time, he said, I ain't no actor. I told him, quit. I said, I ain't no actor. I can't give it to Mr. Papard. He's an actor. He's a movie star. He's a big movie star. He's my hero, and he's my leader. George was always Mr. T's leader. So when George would leave to go home because he got released, T would go, there goes my leader. I'm going home. Bye. Good night. I got to go home now. My leader's gone. And he'd go home and he'd go out the door. And I go, wait, no, you T, we got more to do. No, my leader's gone. He's movies. I don't know. So we'd have these scenes. When we had the scenes, we were all in it. And I usually had a lot of dialogue in Murdoch, and then George would, make some statement, and then I go, well, I don't know, where am I going to get a tank? Where am I going to get a tank? Around the middle. Face, I have absolute confidence. I go, oh yeah, and so I played my character always kind of off balance. A little, I was confident, but underneath that, I was bullshitting a lot. And so I talk, and then there'd be a pause. Oh man, do I speak yet? And he would go, oh damn, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. He said, I was going to learn my lines. I remember this one time he goes, this is early on, like our 5th or 6th episode. He said, but you know, he always had the greatest American. He said, did you Face? He always called me by my character name. I was never, I saw him just last week after, and he called me Face. I said, yeah, the old face, the fading face. I said, but it's not a lifted face. It's all natural. Yeah, I said earlier, I'm too vain to get the surgery stuff. You know, even the little stuff they do, they just use sandpaper or something. I don't know. I saw a picture of Lee Majors that somebody brought by, and they have it done, and it gets rid of a lot of the wrinkles and stuff. But well, maybe I'll do it. No, I'm too. No, why? Well, what would it? I would say people say, I've been talking about people in Hollywood. I said, why? What would it? How would it improve my life? And I'm too vain to do it because I don't want to. That's cheating. Then I can't say, no, I've never had anything done. This is my life. This is a reflection of my good and my bad and my ugly. It's all, we wear it. Yeah, so Mr. T goes, oh, Jimmy, Face, you see the wind blowing at your house last night? Oh, man, my apartment was blown. So I had my script, and I had my window open, and my script was on my table, and it blew my script out the window. I go, oh, really? That's good. He's going, yeah, oh, yeah. I went live. What's my line? I pity the fool. And then he would laugh again. Now, this would drive Mr. Papard crazy. He couldn't understand why this guy who's making so much money and he's so famous and he's got this, and he just did Rocky where he knew all these, and he's pulling this crap. George didn't like that. So there was always this, we would sit there and say, T, please, learn, here's your line. And Dwight and I would say, you've got 2 lines in this scene, okay? This is one, and that's one. Oh, thanks, brother. Yeah, I'll do it. I'm an actor. He always kept saying, I'm no actor, and he is. The whole thing was an act. The whole B.A. Mr. T is an act. He's Lawrence Theroux. He's a kid from Chicago Project. He's a consummate actor. Anyway, next question.
Hello. I have a Battlestar Galactica question. You started to say how you got the part.
How did you get the part on Battlestar Galactica?
Oh, we don't think we have time. Are we running out of time? I just realized.
We got 11 minutes.
That's what my wife used to say.
Did you use all 11 minutes?
I say, honey, she said, well, we only got 11 minutes. I said, well, I only need 3, so. See, I'm going to waste all my 11 minutes just being, I've done shows where they give me time, and I tell stories for 2 hours. Because I wanted to get to Fred Astaire, and more Paul Newman stuff, but so the question was, how did I get the part? Well, I didn't get the part. So the part was written for me. Battlestar Galactica, Starbuck. There was this rumor that there was going to be a Star Wars TV show, a science fiction TV show. Never been done at this level. They're going to do it the way Star Wars done, all those models and everything. So everybody wanted to be in it. I was down and out. You got to read my book, Kamikaze Cowboy. I was gone through 2 years of changing my diet to get rid of cancer. And so I was just coming out of that. I didn't really even have an agent, but I had this guy who wanted to be my manager. So he set up a meeting with Glenn Larson, who wrote it. And Glenn was in New York at the time with the head of television for Universal. But all I know, and I'm with Gloria Swanson and her husband, Bill, in her fantastic apartment from 1929 where she used to have sex with Joe Kennedy Sr. She was his mistress, you know. So when she would be having sex, little Joe Jr. and little Jackie Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy would be out in the room with the maid, and she would be in Humping Gloria. So, well, I'm being crude, but it's in her book, you know. They had a pretty extensive love affair. And Rose knew, so it was all okay. That's part of the Catholic religion. It's not well known, but there are cutouts for certain people. What was the question? How to get there? So somehow he called me. He said, "Listen, I got a meeting with Glenn Larson. He's at the Sherry Netherland Hotel, 5-star hotel, right down on 59th and he'll give you 15, 20 minutes. You go down there, and he's there, and he'll see." So it's for. I think it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock. So I walked all the way down Fifth Avenue she was up on 92nd Street there, right on there. I walked all the way down to 59th Street, Sherry Netherland. I go in, I get on the phone, and I ask for Glenn Larson's room. They put me through, and this really sleepy female voice goes, "Hello, hello." I go, oh, my name is Dirk Benedict, and I think I have a meeting with Mr. Larson. Just a minute. Honey, are you seeing somebody? Give us 30 minutes and then come up. So I went up, walked in. I was there 4 hours. Glenn and I were like, we'd known each other our whole life. We were just laughing. He couldn't believe how funny I was, because I was making jokes, and the other guy was there too. So, and these are the guys that are making the show. So I didn't know it, but when I walked out, he said, "That's Starbuck. That actor is going to play Starbuck." So he got a picture of me. This is the way he used to work for when he had, and he put it on his writing table, and he would just, when he was writing Starbuck, and so then ABC. I'll skip forward. Where it's come time to do. ABC says no. No, he's not. He doesn't look macho enough. Then he say macho. He doesn't look strong enough. He's got to be a warrior. He's got to fight aliens, and it's going to be. He looks a little. So we did a screen test where we did, and it was expensive then. It was a union. Universal's a union, so it cost, I think, back then $50,000. That'd be like $250 today to do these screen tests, because you had to have makeup, you had to have the lighting, you had the DP, you had the operators, you had all of this stuff. So we did this. Then they said, no, he doesn't look old enough to play opposite the leading ladies. So then, I wish I could remember the actor. They hired this actor. So we did another screen test. And then they said I was something else. I forget what it was. So we did 3 screen tests. And it went silent. And I was told, don't worry, it's just they're being a-holes. So then I got a call. Would have been in February. I got a call saying you didn't get it, but they started filming. They filmed for almost 2 weeks, Battlestar Galactica. So I got the call and said, I got bad news. ABC just won't budge, so you're not going to do it. So I packed my bags. I was always going back to Montana because Hollywood was not for me. I never fit in. I was never part of it. I always said it's like there's a party and you're at the party, but you're never in the party. You might know what I mean. It's one thing to be out there, like at Paul Newman, sitting against the wall and kind of wild, but you're never in the party. You're never part of it. They never go, hey, what are you doing next week? No. So that was me in Hollywood for 30 years. But so I was going back to Montana where I could kill ducks and pheasants and grouse. And no, I like dumb birds. I know I don't eat meat and I kill animals. Well, that's the paradox in which the truth is in all things. This is why people get caught up in left and right, male right, female right, and right wing and left wing. The truth is in the paradox that's created by the combination of the two. So the truth about me is that, I don't not eat meat for emotional, sentimental, or political reasons, because that's stupid. Because the healthiest people on the planet, when they studied them, were the Inuits. You know, the Eskimos. They did that, and they live on animal food, caribou and seal blubber and fat, and they don't traditionally, that's their diet. They studied them. They found they had no heart disease. They hadn't had high blood pressure. They didn't have clogged arteries. All this stuff that's associated with eating like they were eating. But and they had vitamin C in their blood. Well, where the hell did that come from? There were no orange groves up there. I could talk about this for 2 hours, but this is what I do. But I just want to finish the Battlestar thing. So
yeah, you didn't have the role. You
So I
said
didn't-
no, and you were packing for Montana.
Oh, you were listening. See, this was a
I do
trick.
listen, yes.
It was a test. It was a test. He passed. See, I paused, and he goes, "Oh, he's lost." Where was I?
Packing
No,
for
so
Montana.
I guess so. I'm going to go up and go. No, this is in in February. So I was going up to Montana, but I had to get my gear all together. So it was about a week's time. I had before you move, and it was kind of depressing. But it was rainy. I remember this is in 1978, and I thought and I loved the rain. And it was kind of like you're in a movie or something. It was sad, but I thought it was always tomorrow, And I got a call on I think it was Saturday, because the agent couldn't find me. I was just looking this up. I was in Palm Springs visiting a college friend who was in a jazz band, because we had a jazz band in college. I played the trombone. And he said, "Dirk, I'm in Vegas." So I went down there to see him and his wife, and we hung out. We're having a great. And my agent found me, which is another story, and he was pissed off. "Tell me where you are." I said, "Why?" He says, "You go to work Monday." I said, "Doing what?" "Battlestar Galactica. I just got the call. You're supposed to show up for work." So I go, "This is good. So, I'll be sexy again. The women will like me." No, so I went back and I went to work on Monday morning. But what had happened is Glenn Larson postponed filming Starbuck. He shot around the character, right? And then he went to Frank Price, who was the president of Universal Television. It was very important. But right after that, he went to Paramount as a studio head. He said, "Frank," I said, "what are we going to do about Starbuck?" He said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, it's Dirk Benedict." He said, "Well, ABC says no." They said, "What?" They said he's not sexy enough. Frank said, "They said what?" So he says, "I want a meeting on Sunday," because I worked Monday, and this was probably a Friday, or I think it was a Saturday. "I want a meeting. I want the president of NBC, all those casting people in my house will screen his screen test." So they all met. They sat down. Glenn told me this story like 20 years later, and I can't tell the whole thing because you're recording. But they showed all my screen tests, and then Frank Price says, "Now what's the problem with this actor?" And the casting person stood up and said, "Well, we just don't think he's sexy enough." And Frank Price unloaded and walked out of the room. So I got the job, but they hated me. So I only had one job for ABC in the next 30 years after that. So I couldn't get a job when Battlestar was, they hated me, and they didn't like me all the way through the show. Here's the other funny thing. So it wasn't written that I smoked, Starbuck smoked fumarolles. So I introduced it. Glenn loved it. He says, "Gary, we can't call it a cigar. Let me get back to you, because I'm smoking in this gambling scene. I want to smoke a cigar and he says, "Okay, call it a fumarella." Okay, I said, "Okay." So I said, "Where's my fumarella?" So I'm smoking a fumarella, drinking ambrosia, and so the network just lost their minds, because the anti-smoking thing was just really heating up. And their argument was that women hate cigars. They hate the smell, they hate the look, they hate what it stands for. Rich guys with airplanes, they hate all that. So, and he says, we gotta stop it. We gotta cool it with the cigars. Because they said, well, I got a memo, one more cigar and you're fired. He's fired. So let's cool. Because we weren't on the air yet. We filmed, for 4 months before. So then we went on the air, and I got more fan mail than anybody at Universal Studios, let alone Battlestar. Right. And a lot of wonderful women sent me cigars in the mail. I mean, hundreds of them. So I said, well, that's it. We're smoking. To hell with them. But they didn't like. They never did like. They just didn't think I was any good. And they didn't
I'd say you proved them wrong, most definitely.
Yeah, but they won the battle. I mean, the war. I won that little battle, but. And then, the A-Team, the same deal. So Steve McCandless sees Battlestar Galactica, and he goes, that's Faceman. Starbuck is perfect for Faceman. So I have a meeting with him. It's deja vu all over again. And he goes, listen, here's the script. Read it. I would like you to play this part. So I read it. I said, this is great. It's a funny action-adventure thing with guys with guns and it's kind of silly, but it's kind of, I said, fantastic. Of course, I'll do this. I'll do it for nothing. My agent said, wait a minute. So, and then it's the same deal all over. This time, the head of casting, Joel Thurm, said, he's just not good looking enough. That's funny because, I played these two characters for which I'm known. I played a lot of other stuff. And some people would think, oh, you just got those parts because you were good looking. When in fact, they didn't hire me because I wasn't good looking. I wasn't sexy and I wasn't good looking. That's how crazy it is in Hollywood. It was all about something else, but they would never talk about what it's really about. So this time they went off to Mexico and filmed the A-Team pilot, and I'm not in it, as many of you know. And then this time I wasn't shooting ducks. I had the gun to my head when the phone rang. And no, it's a joke. No, I've only done that over women, because that's, yeah. She doesn't love me. Yeah. No. I have to wind up. I thought I was wound up.
You are.
No, so anyway, I got the call. That's all right. You go to work on Monday. So I was always forced on, that was NBC, never worked there again. Well, they don't like it when somebody pulls a power move on really powerful people. So I'm going to continue doing this. I'll be in the men's room. Or maybe the ladies.
Thank you so much, Dirk, for all this time. Big round of applause, Dirk Benedict.
Still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers.
Thank you so much, Dirk.
Hi, this is Michael Shanks, and you're watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. The fate of the universe may depend on it. Oh, and have fun, and follow your fandom.